So, boxing fans and, everyone that loves this sport, we have here Jennifer Badillo. Hey, what a great pleasure to see you, especially when we had like 3 days ago, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or 2 days ago, women's celebration that, eventually, big shout out to all of you ladies. A lot of people like yourself, manager, of Lefty Gonzalez, Mathew, working with him, and so many great things that women's does. Big shout out to Clarissa Shields also, because she achieved, another win. And also big shout out to Marie, because eventually without them, we can't see this type of sports. But tell us how great it works for you now. First of all, congratulations, because hey, new gym, I can see, speed bags and all of that. So how does it work now, this new gym that eventually you're promoting, you're working with it? Tell us.
So what's up, everybody? So guys, my name is Jenny Badillo from the New York City area. Yes, it was International Women's Day, but it's actually International Women's Month. So we are celebrating the entire month. And matter of fact, it should be a celebration for the entire year, right? Women are a very key element to everything, like men and women, right? We're equal at the end of the day, guys. So listen up, Clarissa Shield being on a pay-per-view event, that's dope. I mean, people act so shocked, but women have always been in boxing. I mean, I've been in boxing all my life. I've been actively working in boxing for over a decade, so it's not new, We just kind of been behind the scenes. We've been letting our boys shine, but now it's our moment to join in there with them. I don't think any sex is better than the other, but it's great for us to get the spotlight together, guys. So I'm super excited about Clarissa's pay-per-view. I'm super excited about more women rising in boxing, not only in the ring, but the business part and the components and in the gym side as well.
Yes, another great event is coming up this weekend. Cecilia Braekhus against Jessica Mccaskill. What a great event. Tell us who you think will win this time. I mean, eventually Jessica is gonna be defending her all titles, and I think, I'm pretty sure that Cecilia wants against all the titles back. But hey, this is a fight that everyone has to stay tuned, and we can't miss this fight. But tell us, what do you think of this movement, women's boxing?
Well, first off, for that fight, may the best woman win. All right, guys. At the end of the day, may the best woman rise that night. May the best woman, whoever trained the hardest, you're gonna tell that day. Because I always said, it's not the fight day; it's what you did preparing yourself for the fight is what really got you ready. So the fight's already here. It's who really took the preparation, who really prepared themselves mentally, who there is coming with the team that's putting value to it. So may the best women win. I wish them both the best at the end of the day. And I'm super excited that women are in boxing. It's like I said, this is definitely opening up the platform. I'm so happy to jump on board to speak with you as well. Basically, with me as a woman, I'm not getting punched in the face anytime soon. Right? But I'll deal behind the scenes of the negotiation part, So those who are getting punched in the face have a fair opportunity.
Oh, yes, definitely. But first thing first, I know you've been in your whole life in boxing, but what was the motive that make you jump and say, hey, I want to do this? And I know, this is a man's like job or something like that, because believe it or not, I interview a few people, well, not a few people, some fighters, especially female fighters, and you're gonna be very surprised the stories that most of them they tell me, because I have one fighter from Mexico that she actually said it. When I tried to enter in this sports, it was hard for me because I was the only woman in the gym, and it was hard. There was a man that he says, no, I don't train women's. But she kept, like she continued, persistent and saying, hey, I wanna become a boxer. So the person says, oh, you have to go and train hardest the same way that man does. So if you're willing to do that, jump up. And guess what? She did it, and now she became a world champion. And for some reason, some of the men's, and with all due respect to boxers, and of course, men's that they run this business, I feel like the machismo now with all the ladies, and especially because all of you are working along with, you know, men's too, the machismo is breaking through already, and I'm glad of that. You know, I'm a man. I like to respect women. I like to respect all the females, but some of the men, they probably like, no, that's not your job. You cannot be doing this. But tell us, what was the motive for you to jump on in this and say, hey, I want to become a manager, trainer? Tell us.
Well, I'll definitely tell you a fun fact about Jenny. So my dad's had a boxing gym all his life. So I grew up in a boxing gym. I sparred. I hit the bags. I do mid work. I do it all. People don't understand that I'm 38 years old. Women were not allowed into amateur boxing until 1995. I was already 15 at that time. I remember going to amateur boxing shows with my brother, and girls were not allowed to fight. And I never thought of it being weird. That was just the way that I'm talking about. Like, we're in the 90s. I'm not talking about 1960, 1970. I mean, at that time, I ended up doing track. I was very athletic. I got into other sports. So I didn't jump into boxing because there wasn't a platform for me. So I used my talents for something else. So people don't understand that women amateur boxing, it did not start till 1995. You know, we weren't even allowed in the Olympics for boxing till like almost a decade later. Literally. So, you know, the women's boxing is still very fresh. You know, it's still very, very brand new at the end of the day. So that was my experience in a gym. What happened is that later on, I migrated to New York City. I'm originally, I'm born in New York, raised in Florida. I decided to partner with my father. My father is my mentor. He is my everything. He's the reason why I love boxing. He's the reason why I learned how to defend myself. You know, he's still my advisor to this day. And I partnered up with him, and I opened up my very first gym 10 years ago here in New York City, which is called International Boxing and Fitness, you know. And I rolled with the punches with him. And let me tell you something. This is a boys club, you know, and it's very intimidating for men sometimes to meet a woman with my personality. You know, because the thing with my personality is that I'm very driven, you know. In the boxing world, I've experienced it as a manager. I became a manager or an advisor roughly about 3 to 4 years ago. And a lot of people shut the doors on me, you know. They literally slam the doors in our face. But, you know, I could defend myself, so I'll kick that shit down, right? And as I always say, if they don't invite you to the table, you build your own table. So I build my own gym. I got heavily involved into amateur boxing. I then started advising boxers. Now I'm opened up my new promotion company. It's okay. They didn't need to invite me to the table. I'll create my own table, and then I'll get you guys as allies, you know. And that's basically what has to be done. I mean, you know, we all, not only women, different ethnic groups, you know, we have all type of restraints. Because remember, I'm a double minority. I'm a female and I'm Latina, right?
Hey.
So
It's
for
spicy
some of
right
you guys
there.
out there, I got it a lot tougher than some of you guys, you know. And the pretty face can only go so far, you know, without them feeling they could break that confidence level too. That's something as women that we have to be careful about as well. You know, sometimes we can't be too friendly because they think something else. And it's crazy because when a guy's too friendly, you don't ever think that about the guy. You know? So these are things that we battle with. But seriously, my journey into boxing is all as a result of my father, Victor Cruz. He's 84 years old. I'm one of his youngest babies. He has shown me everything from training to fighting to learning how to speak up for yourself. My dad taught me negotiation, business deals. He's even the one that helped me come up with the name of my new promotion company. I literally sat down with my dad. I'm like, all right, Dad, it's brainstorming time. We're about to do this right now, you know? And seriously, he's actually I've had a very strong male father figure in my life, and he is my number one cheerleader. And he always thinks that I can do anything that a man can do and even better. So he's definitely been my motivation to get into boxing and get to where I'm at right now.
It's great to hear your story because eventually, as I mentioned, it's something most likely similar as this female that I interviewed in the past. They had different stories, and as a man, I feel ashamed, to be honest. You know, I had nothing to do with, you know, people that they shut down the doors in front of them. But I said, hey, how come, you know, you shut the door in front of her face and say, no, you can't do this, you can't become like this. That's typically a machismo, and I call it the way it is. I don't bite my tongue and say, oh, you know, because if I say this, or if because I say that, people are not gonna follow me. At the end of the day, you know, that's my opinion, and I respect each other opinions in different medias, because eventually some of the guys sometimes they don't really support women's boxing. I'm trying to support women's boxing as much as I can, and sometimes it's hard. I mean, because I've been asking questions that sometimes I get avoided or ignored. But at the end of the day, I like to support women's, and they probably be like, oh, you are into so much women's boxing because I guess you want pursuing something else. No, it's not that. It's just I love the sports, and when it comes to women's, I know so many of you train hard. I've been there. I've been watching, you know, females before they sparring and everything, and it's a lot of sacrifice. And eventually, talking of sacrifice, you have a new gym. What was the sacrifice that eventually the place where you at right now is opening doors for not only men, but exactly for women's? What sacrifice you paid it for?
Well, I'll tell you real quickly, before we go on to that topic, you know, I want you to know not every guy in boxing is a machista. You know, I do remember a few of the guys that gave their hands to me and helped me out. One person really helped me out, that he was one of my first mentor, was Felipe Gomez, who was a manager. He taught me a lot throughout the way. We had a coach in our gym called Coach Moses. You know, I spoke with him back and forth about, you know, how guys act and what they expect. You know, it's so funny because we got to go into these conversations, right? You know, we have Wavy Gravy, who's a trainer in our gym, that, you know, he backs me up all the way. He's like, whatever you say, Jen, we're doing it, right? You know, so there's other key people that helped me out throughout the way that I'm definitely not going to forget them throughout this journey. So not all of them are machista, you know, but it's definitely the men that are very secure about themselves, you know, that see me as an asset and an ally, that are not. As far as the gym, guys, we went through a pandemic, so I definitely went through it. I actually got this new gym back in February before the pandemic hit, and as you guys know, I had to stop all constructions. My doors were shut down all the way up to like September, and I was blessed. You know, I opened up my gym back in September, and we have so much support in the community. Really, within my first week, I sold out all my program spaces, because, you know, I'm only allowed a 25% capacity. You know, but guys, you know, I struggle with everyday obstacles as a business owner, as a small business owner, you know, dealing with the community. But let me tell you something, I'm a fighter and I roll with the punches. So if I could take a jab in the ring when I was 4 years old, 5 years old, you know, some guy shutting my door, and no freaking COVID is going to stop with the blessing that God gave us, you know. So,
Amen.
So we're in here and our gym's open to everybody, man and woman.
That's great. That's great. Tell us, where is it located? Because eventually, we have fighters from LA and other places, Florida, Texas, all these places. And eventually, when the doors are open, when boxing opens the doors and continue moving around, because eventually we're expecting the boxing returns to New York, because right now it's a little weird, it's a little complicated because of the pandemic. But eventually, we're hoping that we're going to have, you know, again, fights in New York, Madison Square Garden, Barclays Center. So eventually, people would need a gym. So can you tell the fight fans and all boxing fans, where is it located so they can stop by and check your gym?
Yes, guys. Well, you can follow us at Platinum Hands Boxing. We're actually located at 6932 Myrtle Avenue here in Queens, New York. We have Lefty as one of the trainers. We have my brother who has a huge amateur experience. His name is Cruz the Don. Follow Lefty at Lefty Guns. We also have Coach Wavy Gravy that's here with us. So among us three, we definitely take care of our pros, our amateurs, and those who are just coming to the gym just to get fit, you know, just to release some stress. Because at the end of the day, I tell people the biggest killer is not COVID. The biggest killer is stress.
Yes.
So you definitely have to find somewhere to let and channel that out. And if you have any children, you know, I always tell people, get the tablet away from your kid and get your kid active.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, think about your child's mental state. For them to be a leader, for them to be an alpha male, I always think self-defense definitely boosts everybody's confidence and your self-appearance. So start at a young age, and we're here to help you guys out at Planet Man Boxing.
Oh yes, and I definitely say that you're making a great movement because as you mentioned, I know before we used to play differently, like I guess JoJo's and things like that, right? But now they come in, they have the cell phones, tablets, or the kids they don't want to do it, and eventually, if you think and realize, sometimes the kids and the youth they get sick because why? They like to eat but they don't do exercise, and eventually with your gym opening, and not only your gym, every gym in New York, especially when they started opening again, and before, of course, with the cautious and everything, it helps the kids, it helps to motivate them to stay out of trouble, and that's a great thing and great movement that you're doing. I mean, first of all, congrats, and let's continue working with it, right?
Yeah, guys, this is the boxing gym was my first baby of many babies I had in the boxing world. But the boxing gym was definitely the first because this is where it starts. This is where talent gets found at. This is where people learn the passion of boxing. And I love the fact that I got this experience to my new projects now.
Oh yes. Talking about other topics, and let's jump on Mathew Lefty Gonzalez. Hey, again, congrats. You got the gym. You guys earned a title. Tell us, what was it for you now to earn one of the first, titles that eventually Matthew's continuing pursuing greatness, and he won't stop until he get it. But you are in the corner. How does it work for you to be right next to him? And of course, he's if I'm not mistaken, he's your boyfriend. Watching your boyfriend getting punched in the face, and you are the one that has to manage and everything. How does it work, your relationship also, and not only that, as a trainer, how you work, together with him?
Well, we definitely have a business relationship, right, guys? I tell people even the way that we met has always been business-oriented, goal-oriented. So it was really easy to work with him because we had the same visions in mind, right? Our goal was to come in and build a legacy. I always tell people we are not money-driven, we are legacy-driven. Our goal is to help as many people as we can during the process, and then we're going to get to the end of the rainbow, but our intentions are great, So when we started together, we're actually going to Olympic trials. We got a lot of support from people at the gym and so forth. And then we did the whole pro transition. For those of you guys who do not know, Lefty is 11-0 with 7 KOs. He's been featured in places like the Barclays Center, King's Theater, Madison Square Garden. We've been doing camp with people like Telefima Lopez for the Loma fight. We were there for 3 weeks. Danny Garcia for the Earl Spence, for a lot of other great boxers in the here New York City area. But you got to understand, the dope part about us is that we're fully independent. We're independent 100%. That means that we are self-motivated, we are self-driven, we are self-funded, right? And why is that so big? It's because we actually control the narrative of our future, of his career. So us having the opportunity to get a WBL, our first title coming in, was dope. Us seeing our numbers in the rankings getting closer and closer to the top 50 is dope, because we saw all the work that was needed behind scenes. We saw all the connections that we had to make, and all the networking that we had, all the people that we had to talk to everywhere in order to make this happen. And about to come for Lefty Guns is going to be huge. He is one of the most underrated boxers in New York City. I'll say at the end of the day, right? Because we don't got all the flashy lights with the big promotions and stuff like that. But he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. If you guys don't follow him at Lefty Guns. He has amazing his ring entrances. He puts efforts into the clothes that he wears. He gives you guys a show. Because if you're going to pay for entertainment, let's give you entertainment. Everything from how the corner looks, everything from how he looks at his weigh-in. I always say that. If a fighter doesn't come in to impress, Like, he's not giving you your money's worth. We're paying for a show at the end of the day. And not only that, he is one of the most disciplined. I will say this again because I see boxers in every state. He's one of the most disciplined men I've ever seen. This man does not drink alcohol. This man does not smoke. This guy doesn't smoke hookah. He does not hang out in the nightclubs. He's in bed every day at 11 o'clock. He runs every single day. He trains 7 days a week. And as he's doing this process, he's active with the community. He has a kids program. He works with the NYPD every single Wednesday, all while they're reaching their goals. So let me say something. Working with Lefty is easy. It was a blessing in disguise because we're both driven the same exact way. And let me tell you something. He got to fight April 3rd in PA. I got tickets available. Stay tuned. And we got a huge fight coming on June 12th with God willing, and thank the Lord, he is going for a WBC Becca box title that's coming up this next fight. So he's coming with another shot. We're taking all of them. All of them are going for them.
Hey, that's great to hear. Eventually, you guys having coming up a event because at the end of the day, this is what boxing fans they expecting. They also going, as you mentioning. I seen Lefty Guns that he always every time that he performs comes with a different suit, different things that I always ask him like, how does it come in your mind like to come and you get dressed like I remember the Halloween mask and other stuff, and I was like, first of all, people think that who is this boxer, whoever doesn't know him, but because I have a friend that she came from LA. And I remember like, who's the boxer? And I was like, wait until you see it. And then eventually when he pulled it off the mask and then I said, that's him. And she was like, oh, wow. And then when she started seeing how Lefty it was performing, it was like, he's a great boxer. And I was like, yeah. And I know he's working hard. He's continue improving more because as you mentioned, he's dedicated. He's very disciplined, and I've been there. I've been watching him. I could be a witness. If someone asks me how hard does he train, he trains really hard. And I guess, and I believe, I would say correctly, that eventually you guys gonna conquer another world title. And hey, guys, go and get it. I would say so.
Yeah, that's the plan. We're in this to go all the way to the top. So I'll say that we're in this to get titles, to get straps, to go into the correct federation. That's what we're in this for. We're not here for a hype show. We're not here, this is what we do for real. This is our dream. This is our passion. And people don't realize that we didn't do this overnight. We got years preparing for these moments. So people don't understand that. Sometimes people are like, oh, where does she come from? Oh, where did he come from? And they think we did this overnight. It looks simple because we make it look simple now. But we've been, like I said, I've been doing this since I was young. Lefty's been boxing since he was 8 years old. And we eat, breathe, sleep boxing. I always say you got to see the end in mind in order for it to become a reality. Like, I already envision him walking out for his world title. I already got to envision having a franchise, a boxing gym. I already envision us having one of the dopest promotions in the whole world. So we're ready. We're ready for all the blessings, and we're ready for all the haters, because if you ain't got haters, you ain't doing nothing, right? But I'm hoping we don't have too many haters. I hope people see how genuine we are, and they really support us at the end of the day.
Don't worry, we need them at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, I mean, it's not we really have haters. It's just it's part of the boxing, because that's how this great movement continues moving. I heard and I asked people, do you think that MMA is bigger than boxing? And some of them they said yeah, and some of them they said no. So in my opinion, I respect both disciplines, but at the end of the day, I stay more with boxing, because eventually some of the guys from MMA wants to do boxing and do the transition. We have McGregor that eventually, I think I read an article, if Team Reynoso agrees and accept McGregor, I think we're gonna see McGregor in the boxing movement. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but
no disrespect, MMA is cool, but I don't want to see no MMA, no YouTubers in my sport. I'm sorry. Keep that for like the clown shows. Keep that for like, separate celebrity boxing. It's cool for what it is, but it's like me saying that I'm a racquetball player. I'm a champion racquetball player, but then I'm gonna go and fight Serena and go against Serena Williams in tennis.
No,
it's two different sports.
No, it is.
Two different sports, And when we see these YouTubers coming in, I got amateur boxers that can, with no fights, that can kick their asses.
Yeah.
So MMA is cool. Y'all stay with your Dana White and your UFC, and y'all rule that over there, and let the real boxers do the boxing at the end of the day. Because, like I said, and we don't play boxing. Any of these guys can die any single day in this ring. And I tell people, this is real life. Every time we put somebody in there, whether I put somebody from my promotion company, whether I put one of my fighters, whether I put my loved ones in there, you have to understand that every time I do that, I take a risk that they don't make it home that night.
Yep.
And there's certain risks that you don't see. Maybe he's fighting, you think that he's okay, and 7 years later, he's punchy. 7 years later, he has a speech impediment. 4 years later, he's forgetting things. So these are real life problems that are happening with fighters. So we got to pay them what they deserve. You getting paid $100 for a ticket, sending it up for pay-per-view, don't complain. You have no idea what goes behind the scene. And it's just a price that you're paying for a man to risk his life for your entertainment at the end of the day.
Yes, correct. I definitely, support your message because if we could talk about, different topics, I disagree right now with Gilderim that eventually they talking about really bad of him. And one thing that I respect from coaches, and I always said it, I don't care if anybody says, oh, you're, with all due respect, to you and most of the viewers, I don't like to kiss nobody ass, but I know what coaches, I know what coaches sees that sometimes the fans, they don't see it. And if the coach says, I'm going to stop the fight, it's because one, he wants you to come out of the ring healthy. And if this thing happened,
Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, and if this thing happened in this fight with Joel Diaz, that he stopped the fight, is because he sees something that nobody sees. And at the end of the day, he wants to make his fighter walk out of the ring healthy instead of being, in coma or God forbid, anything wrong happens. So sometimes they like to criticize really easy boxing, but it's not the same as a criticizing and being inside the gym. So I always encourage...
Listen, any coach that stops the fight, I give him merits. And I'm going to tell you why I give him merits. People think that they're watching a Rocky movie. They think that Rocky's going to come out of nowhere on the 11th round after getting his butt kicked for 10 rounds, and he's going to throw these magical shots, right? I tell people, if my fighter is losing every single round and we're getting our ass kicked, that's it. Stop it. Go back to the drawing board and come back. Because what you don't understand is that if we don't knock them out, we're not going to win. That knockout is 1 in a billion chance. But what you're doing is you're risking a really good fighter that probably just has to go back to the drawing board. You're risking him to get hurt. Yeah. Because what you're not realizing is that maybe you don't see him getting knocked out, but those punches add up. You could have done 2 more extra rounds that were just not needed. And let me tell you something. Any trainer that throws in the towel, any trainer that stops a fight, he's doing his job.
Yes, correct.
Because the moment that a trainer stops a fight and a referee didn't, the referee didn't do his job. And I always say something. I don't leave my fighter's wrist up to the referee because the referee don't see what I see. Because when you're sitting in that corner and you're looking at your fighter's eyes and you're looking into his eyes, the fighter is so prideful, the fighter will always tell you he can fight. Yeah. You never leave it up to the fighter. Never say, oh, but the fighter said he was. The fighter will always say he's good because he's a fighter. He is a winner. That's why there is professionals like myself. That's why there's professionals like the corner that has to make that decision. So any trainer that threw a towel, stopped any fight, and the boxer fire you, screw that fighter. That fighter doesn't realize that you saved their life at the end of the day because they don't see what we see. So thumbs up for any coach that stopped any fighter had to throw in a fighter because you went against the promoters, you went against all politics for the safety of that guy because there's more fights to come at the end of the day.
Exactly. That's not the only fight that they will have. Eventually, they can rise up again. And I send a big shout out to Joel Diaz. Big shout out to also Gilderim Abnir. I haven't met him yet, but I'm pretty sure that, you know, his family wants him, his wife, and of course the family. They want, you know, that him be okay. So, hey, if you lose your fight, you lose your fight. That's it. I mean, there's more fight coming up, you know, ahead. So there's nothing to worry about it. But eventually things going on in boxing. Some of them they be understandable. Some of them don't. But we gotta do our job, as you mentioned. You are the manager. You're coaching, and if you see something wrong, you're definitely gonna stop the fight. Hey, nobody else sees that. Only you.
And there's nothing wrong with the fighter losing a fight. Stop thinking that a guy needs an undefeated record to be amazing. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's guys back in the day that lost 4 to 5 fights and they would still get a title shot.
Yeah.
You have to understand that sometimes we get our fighters in there at a very young age. Maybe they didn't win, but now they know what they got to work on. And guess what? That guy may come back better than ever. So that comes with a lot of people trying to protect the records and stuff like that. Listen, that's one thing I love about UFC. UFC, you can lose 4 fights, and you're still making a whole bunch of money, and the audience still loves you.
Yeah.
You know, we got to bring that back to boxing. If we start bringing back to boxing that it's okay, it's normal to lose, and you tried your best, you came back even harder, we'll start seeing more legitimate fights. We'll start seeing some real great competition. We'll start seeing, you know, people with great fights within their 10. We can start making it a norm to not shit talk, to not feel bad, to not go on YouTube, because I hate all these fake comments about boxing, but then they want to make a boxer feel bad because he lost a fight. Listen, enjoy the entertainment, enjoy the process. If a guy lost, you lost, but good try, come back later. And I guarantee if we change the narrative in the next 10 years, we're going to see amazing boxing matches at all levels very early in these guys' career.
Definitely, I agree with you. God willing, we stay here and we continue seeing these things going better and better. And I always hope for the best in everything. So I'm pretty sure you do as well. The same thing. You're hoping the best. You're making moves and you're trying to grow every day.
Yes. I mean, we literally got like into every topic there. You guys notice girls do know a little bit about boxing, all right, guys? We literally touched a whole bunch of different topics right there. You know, it's like I said, I live, eat, and breathe this, and this is just to show you guys that I have the experience that's needed. I have the background that's needed. I have the knowledge that's needed to continue and to move forward and to transition from advisor to promoter now, and to really give a platform for all the fighters out there.
I know you are that person that eventually you like to push every female fighter, and not only female fighter, every person to conquer greatness in their lives, and I'm pretty sure we will see it. So Jen, before we wrap up this interview, what message would you like to bring? I mean, I know you gave a lot of messages right now, you know, every positive message, but what specific message you would like to tell the fight fans? And of course, you know, they can make it happen.
Sure, guys. I know we spoke about my gym, we spoke about my fighter, we spoke about my experience. Some of you guys didn't even know I knew how to box, right? And I told you guys about my background. But guys, I want to close it up with that. We just started Latin American Promotions, guys. Definitely, I'm super excited. This is my new baby, all right? If you guys have not know it, and I'm super excited. We're going to be debuting in July. Not announced March 18th to be technical. In July in Atlanta, Georgia. I am going to be going to 4 other states throughout the year that are already confirmed. I'll let you guys know as the times come up at the end of the day. I'll be working. It's going to be it's going to be on a network, so if you can't travel, you guys can watch everything. We're going to have everything from documentaries for myself, documentaries about our boxers. So if you guys want to hear a little bit more about my lifestyle, about our fighters' lifestyle, download the BPE network. It's on Apple, on Google Play. Download it because it's a platform that has been created for us to really bring out content. You know, sometimes we can't make it yet, but guess what? They created their own so that we can show it to you guys. Get on there. I'm also really excited, that I'm going to be working in association with Big Time Promotions, the Biggs family in my first show in Atlanta. They're amazing individuals. They're very hardworking. They're very serious young men and young women. They have a lot of great quality. So working with them as well, I'm just super excited because they bring so much to the platform, and that's coming through it. And my message to you guys at the end of the day is, listen, whether it's boxing, whether it's karate, whether it's MMA, whether it's just opening up an empanada stand, understand that you can do whatever you want at the end of the day. We're all going to go through trials and discrimination, We spoke about some of my barriers and some of my hurdles, and guess what? It's part of life. Eat it up.
Yeah.
Don't go home and complain about it, right? I didn't go home and said, oh my God, the promoters wouldn't give me their phone number. Oh my God, they wouldn't let Lefty fight. I'm like, cool. Did I call somebody else? And I made more and more phone calls until I found the person that actually opened the doors for me. And here's one thing. I remember the people who shut the doors on me, but most importantly, I remember the people that helped me.
Yeah.
So I don't focus on the people who shut the doors on me. I focus on the people who helped us. Because if you have that mindset, now I want to help other people. And if you focus on the positive of everything, then there could be more and more of us coming to these platforms. I'm excited that with my boxing gym, through the advisement that I've done so far, and through Latin American promotions, I can really provide a platform for fighters who are just getting started, for fighters who have great records, but, things didn't go right with their promoters. Maybe we have a platform to help them out. At the end of the day, I just want to bring you guys great boxing. I want to bring you guys a great experience. I want to give the audience what they're paying for at the end of the day. And I just want to keep boxing alive. And we keep boxing alive. It is a beautiful sport. It is an art form. Again, it is an art form. And let's do what we got to do to support these fighters, Slow down on the hating a little bit, on the comments on these guys that didn't have a good night. Sometimes people got an off day. But don't forget, guys, that these guys are leaving their kids, they're leaving their moms, they're leaving their wives, they're leaving people behind just to give you a show for you to shit talk on them,
Yeah.
Put all of that into mind at the end of the day. And big ups to the trainers out there, because the trainers are the ones who are getting these fighters ready to deliver you guys. You have to understand that it's not only the boxer, there's a whole team around it, There's a lot of people that are not getting recognized. And let me tell you something, CBS Boxing, you're doing your thing. I know he's all the way in another country, just to let you guys know. We're communicating. This is to show you guys that now with the technology, we can get together. And guys, I'm definitely follow us at JetBad, at Lefty Gun, at Platinum Hand Boxing, at Latin American Promotions. Like, we're coming for it, Again, we're going to wait for our time because everything has a way to doing it. But slowly but surely, we're going to definitely get there, but a lot faster than people anticipated.
Definitely, you guys will, and I'm willing to see greatness, of course, when all these things happen in your life, and of course Matthew's career too, and of course for the gym as well. And what can I say, Jen? It's always a pleasure to speak with you.
I'm definitely going to give a quick shout out. I do have some people that have always sponsored us and worked with us, and I always got to mention them. Shout out to TKO Boxing, to Jake Pace. I want to give a big shout out to Glam Beauty Lounge. I want to give a shout out to Lincoln Trucks. Again, VPE Network. These are people that support us. To Lit Life Studio, to Be Rich. I got to shout them out because they're people who have sponsored us, they support us, and they've seen the vision that we've had from the very, very beginning. So, guys, we couldn't do it without you guys, and we're here to keep your brand going, to keep our legacy going, and I love you guys all.
Thank you, Jen. We will stay tuned, more. And, guys, please don't forget to check on Jenny's gym. Also, follow their account, Lefty Guns and Jen Bad. And, hey, we will stay tuned and check the next fight that Mathew Gonzalez is going to bring for all the fight fans. Again, thank you, Jen, and we're definitely going to talk more later. Bye. Big shout out to you. Thank you.